day now. Take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay.
Hello. I was in... Hello, Casper's. Casper's my dog. Hello, Casper. I was in two minds whether to make this video or not. And what convinced me to make this video was the fact that it's just taken me 2 weeks to convince my wife. Now, panic buying has already started. I think there are things that we need to logically, just as normal people, just logically think of. For those people that say that you know, straight away I'll say, for those people that think I'm scaremongering, I'm not scaremongering. I'm just saying how it is, and I'm saying how my mind sees it. That's all I'm saying. And there are things that we need to take notice of, I think. Like the fact, something that everybody's laughing at, or was laughing at for a while, is the fact that China, within a month, built 2 hospitals. They'd announced that they were going to build a hospital within 2 weeks or something, and then they said that's not big enough, we're going to build another one. So China straight away understood the seriousness of the situation in their own country. They understood the situation so well that they initiated the building of 2 hospitals from a blank bit of ground into working hospitals in less than a month, with thousands of manpower employees. And the moment I saw that, at that moment I knew what we were going to head to, where we would be right now and what we're heading for now. It's obvious. And yet a lot of other countries didn't take it as seriously. Our country certainly isn't taking it very seriously. America, President Trump has just signed a deal for $8.3 billion to go into the coronavirus issue. What does our country do? Our country says self-isolate. Look after yourself, self-isolate, because really we ain't got the money and we can't be asked. And it's going to catch a lot of people with their pants down, and it's going to catch us with our pants down, I think. I really think it is. It's going to catch our politicians with their pants down. Because if the forecasts are right, 1% will be terminal, 1% roughly will end up dying if they don't get it under control. If they don't find an antidote for it fast, if they don't find a way of stopping it, and the only way you can stop it is with some kind of antidote or some kind of pill or some kind of injection or something, let's face it, or you're going to have to put something in the water supply to get the entire country. I mean, let's think about that, you know, how are we, if they do come up with some kind of a inoculation or an antidote for it, how are they going to give it to an entire country of 70 million people? So between 5 and 8 million people in this country are going to die. Approximately 10 of my customers, 12 of my customers are going to die, according to the statistics. We have to take notice of this stuff. The reason we have to take notice of this stuff, and I'll come back to it, China built 2 hospitals in less than a month. They didn't muck about. They know what they're dealing with. They ain't going to go and spend that kind of money and go through doing that if they don't know what they're really dealing with. And they were scared, obviously scared enough to build 2 hospitals in less than a month. And what are we doing? We're not. It would have been a good idea to shut down air travel, I think, shut and sea travel, and just contain everybody for a little while. But of course that won't work because it's going to put so many people out of business. It's already put Flybe out of business straight away. That was enough to just tip the balance for them. It's not the cause of why Flybe went bust, but it was enough to tip the balance. And it's going to be enough to tip the balance for a lot and a lot of businesses. There's going to be a lot of people go bust now. some big ones and a lot of small ones, but there's going to be some bankruptcies now. There's going to be some going into liquidations now. So I think we need to look at this kind of stuff. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I was saying to my wife, look, I was getting a bit exasperated in the conversation we was having, and I said, look, you'll know the moment it's going to start, the panic buying starts, when you first go down to the supermarket and find some little blank spaces, some little gaps where there should be products. Not much, but it'll probably be on hand sanitizers and that kind of cleaning products. And the day before yesterday, she came back from Sainsbury's and said, there's gaps. They ain't got no hand sanitizers. They've run out of this, they've run out of that. Today, she's just gone to Sainsbury's, a massive Sainsbury's, by the way, massive. Not a single toilet roll on the shelf. Not one. Not one. All gone. Shelves cleared. And so more and more products are going now, and you're going to see more and more gaps, and the gaps in these shelves in the supermarkets are going to get bigger and bigger. You know, in some ways, you're better off going down to the local corner shop a bit sharpish to get a few bits and pieces like that, because the supermarkets, the shelves are clearing. And, you know, they do say that there's only ever 3 days supply, 3 days supply before it's a serious situation, before the shelves are cleared, before they can't manage supply and demand. And if you understand supply and demand, and I do, in my own way, I understand it for 50 years. In the world of supply and demand, the minute you can't get stuff starts going up in price. You know, not too long ago, you could pick up face masks for next to nothing. Now they're starting to go up in value. Who is it? Italy? Is it? One of the countries have just commandeered every face mask in the country. You know, all commandeered by the government. That's how urgently they're taking it. And over here, we say, yeah, it's all right, don't worry, just pop along and keep yourself over there and self-isolate. Yeah, that'll save us a few quid, and we'll keep that over there, out of the way, and just hope that goes away. And it ain't going away. They tell us, I've grown up learning all these things on the news, what scientists say, and one thing and another about climate change, you know, and meteorites coming down, every so often this happens, and every so often that happens, and every so often in nature has a way of coming up with a virus that nobody understands, and then wallop, it kills off a huge part of the population and all the rest of it. We've all heard about this. Well, I think now we're living through it. We're actually in it, and it's happening. So my advice is, no, don't go out and panic buy, but my advice is be a bit sensible and start buying a little bit extra of a few products. You know, staple products you can put in a cupboard and last for a long time. You know, a few tins, some pasta, some rice, stuff that's cheap at the moment. Right now you can buy a bag of rice for like peanuts, as it were, and spaghetti and pasta and all of that. But with all of these shutdowns going on, it ain't going to be that long before all of these products start drying up. You know, I mean, from what I understand, I don't know if it's completely true, but like there's like nothing coming in and out of China now. So any products that were relied on for China, they'll be used up, gone. And how many products that have come from China will now be refused, and so on. So it is a huge problem, and it's not as small a problem as what it's being played out to be by our own government and our own politicians, etc. This is a massive problem, and we should be geared up for an epidemic, and we're not. All of a sudden, we're already finding out this department, that department, trying to put in plans, trying to do this. You know, this is what we've been paying for years and years. Apparently, there's supposed to be all sorts of things in motion. Well, we need to see it now, because it's coming. And I don't see anybody building any new hospitals or getting ready for it in that way, the way that the Chinese have. You've got to commend the Chinese for that. They didn't muck about. They went on it. If you want to see the latest figures, how many have got it, how many have died and how many have recovered, coronavirusupdate.tv. Come on to our channel anytime, day or night, and you will see it there. Local latest updated figures. And just to keep an eye on it, because, you know, like me, you need to keep an eye on it. I mean, I'm a nobody. I'm just a small self-employed businessman, but this is going to affect small businesses all over the place, all over the world, and big businesses. You know, when half the country decide that they're going to take time off, because the minute somebody gets a cold, they ain't going to know the difference between whether they've got a cold or whether they've got a virus, the coronavirus. Who's going to know the difference? None of us are doctors. So the minute somebody gets a cold, they're told to stay at home, self-isolate. Well, you know, we're coming into that period where half the country gets a cold. So when things start breaking down, things are going to be a little bit difficult to get hold of. I'm already worried about my stoma supplies and whether or not I'll be able to get them in 6 months' time. And, you know, I am saying to my partner, I think we should buy extra in these areas, you know, and not go stupid. But, I mean, there's no doubt about it. If I had a spare £2,000 in the bank and I didn't owe any money anywhere, I'd be going and spending £1,000 straight away on shopping. There is no doubt about that. That's what I would do. I would make sure that I've got plenty in, because I think, you know, in a funny kind of way, winter's coming and we need to be ready for it. So I just wanted to do this to, not to scaremonger people, not at all to scaremonger, but to say, look, the shelves are starting to empty. Have a look at the shelves when you go to the shops. You know, if you've got a car, nip out to the supermarket on your way home or on your way out later on. Have a little look and see, are you starting to see gaps? Because the minute you start to see gaps, I honestly think, well, that's the time to start getting worried. When things sell out too quickly, that is the time to get a bit worried, because it then becomes difficult to get hold of what you want. You know, I barely remember a non-toilet paper age. I'm 56, and I do remember squares of newspaper being hung up in the outside toilet at my nan and granddad's house. I do remember that, but only vaguely, only a little bit, because probably 50 years of my life has been in what we all take for granted, soft toilet tissue. And now, today, in a massive supermarket, I can't get any. Going without toilet paper for a day, that's all right, because I've got some in anyway, so it's no problem. Hopefully I'll get some in a few more days. Hopefully there'll be another delivery. But suddenly imagining, what if you can't get hold of any? I mean, as it happens, for me, I'm lucky. In that sense, I'm a stoma person, so I don't need it, but the wife does, and other people do, and visitors do, and one thing and another. We've all got to look at this stuff, you know. We've all got to look at it. So, you know, I'm not trying to scaremonger. What I'm trying to say is, you know, I'm thinking of you because you're my customers. I've got customers, and I don't want you to go without, and I don't want you to get ill, anything like that. So, you know, get some cleaning products, because they are flying off the shelves at an unbelievable rate. There's certain cleaning products we can't get now. Get a few bits and pieces in, and make sure you wash your hands. And if you're checking change, because we're all about coins, aren't we? So if you're checking change, if you're looking through change, if you're doing the sort of thing that I do, or Bungle does, or Christopher Collects does, use a pair of rubber gloves, or if you can't use rubber gloves, wash your hands really regular and don't touch your face. We all touch our face dozens and dozens and dozens of times a day. Try and wash your hands a bit more, you know, try not to touch your face. I do it all the time. I do things like that and things like that and whatever. I must do that 50 times a day. I've got to try and stop it. And pay attention to the news. Pay attention to what's going on in other countries. There are 3 countries that are having an absolute nightmare. One's Iran, one is Italy, and forgot what the other one is apart from China. Korea. I think it's North Korea. North Korea, Italy, and the other one that I just mentioned. So the three of them have got serious, serious problems. You know, the mortality rate is through the roof. There's reasons for that. I don't know what they are, but there'll be reasons for that. And that's a lot of deadly virus getting about. Maybe, you know, who knows why that's happening over there. So until our politicians and the people in charge of things in our country, until they start taking it a bit more seriously than what they have done, a bit more seriously than police self-isolate, they need to be put in, you know, they've got huge buildings, there are empty hospitals in this country that are waiting to be demolished and closed down. Get in there quick, make one a virus centre. You know, it's not like we haven't got the buildings. We don't have to go out and build a brand new hospital. We've got them. So use them. In the meantime, until they take this a bit more seriously, I think we as individuals need to take it seriously ourselves. I honestly do. So think about it a little bit more. Keep yourself clean. Try and get hold of some cleaning products. Try and get a few extra in the cupboard, because people are panic buying. Keep an eye on your supermarket shelves, and stay safe. And come on to www.coronavirusupdate.tv anytime and get the latest information. Okay, many thanks. This has been Ian, www.greatbritishcoinhunt.com. Bye for now.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay.